I just wanted to show another clip of Dakota's progress with the bridle. Again, not the best angle probably with the panels kind of in the way, but we do get the bit in for the first time, so I wanted to show that. So I'm just reviewing here, just putting my finger in her mouth and having her mouth open to give her a treat for that, and just kind of reviewing what we've been working on a little bit, and then bringing the bridle back. Um, so I think I'm just waiting for her to have her head straight here and wait for me, because she's kind of a little excited about getting the food. That looked really good. And I think I'm definitely creating this as well because I need to feed her right away and not like take my time, and then she gets a little anxious. I know it sounds counterproductive, but if you feed them more often, they'll be calmer about it than if when you start withholding, because then they're like, well, where's the food? I'm supposed to have the food, and then it kind of escalates from there. Um, as you'll see through her sessions, that was very nice. She seemed pretty relaxed about that, and I fed her in a reasonable time. So you see her go throughout her videos here that I am feeding her more and moving to just using pause reinforcement, and she gets calmer and more relaxed with the food. So that's an important thing to notice if you want to watch the rest of or all of her videos. And here I just have the bit right in her mouth, and there we go, it's in, and that's it. I'm just gonna have it just kind of go behind her teeth so, to where it's in her mouth. I'm gonna click, let it slide off out, and then give her a little bit of a jackpot here. Because what I was annoyed with at the time was her putting her head like toward me like that, and I don't know if that was necessarily like, oh, I want to get the food, or if she was wanting to put the bridle on. I think it was more like, oh, I know the food is over here than the bridle. But yeah, you want to definitely set your horse up for success there and not shoo them away like that. So I wouldn't recommend doing that now. Again, very nice taking the bit though. I click while it's in, and then I let her spit it out, and then I'll give her some food here. Give her a little jackpot. That looks really nice with her head, honestly. Like, um, I'm not really sure what I was super worried about at the time. At the time, I was definitely still probably mostly using negative reinforcement. So you have those old rules of they shouldn't come that close to you. They should be really quiet. They shouldn't like see she's kind of like turning her head. Um, and if I use it more, the food more as like the cherry on top, a little extra, I feel like for her, she had a lot more anxiety about when she could get it. There she put the bit in really nicely again. I went ahead and just put the whole bridle on. That looks really nice. Um, Not really a whole lot of fuss there. I know you saw in the beginning that she really struggled with having the bit in her mouth, and we had to work on it for quite a while, but this last few sessions were pretty smooth as far as once we got the bit in, once we did the prep work. And then now that it's in, I'm going to give her a couple handfuls. She's probably not going to quite understand how to chew with that bit in. It's just a rubber mullen mouth bit, snaffle bit, nothing crazy, but it is her first time having it in, so she's not going to quite understand how to chew with it. And here I think just kind of she's putting her head on the ground to kind of maybe try to eat the reward, the pellets here. Um, it might also be a little bit of a calming signal because toward the end, when she doesn't have it on, she's kind of has her nose in the dirt, so this just might have been a little bit stressful for her. So that's just something to point out. But yeah, and I think she's picking up the drop pieces as well here. But I want, as soon as the bridle on, to be lots of positive things, like you get lots of rewards, it's very nice, just so it's not super aversive. Especially in the beginning, I'm using this rubber bit because I don't want the bit to bang on her teeth. And I know in the beginning she's going to chew it because it's new to her, she's never had one in. So I set her up for success by having this rubber bit so she can chew on it, it's not going to bang on her teeth, she gets used to having something in her mouth. And then if I want later on, I can put a metal bit in when she's not as mouthy and she's used to having a bit in her mouth. That way, right now, since I want to use food, I don't want her chewing a bunch and then banging her teeth on the bit, and then she's uncomfortable, and now this has a negative association. So that's just one of the things I do to help that around. So, but yeah, she's doing a lot of head on the ground, like looking for food. So I think there's a little bit of tension there for sure. Um, but I'm just going to give her lots of rewards and let her just try to make the bridle and wearing the bit as positive as possible. I'm not as concerned about the head stall. It's very similar to the halter. She knows how to wear a halter. She's been wearing a halter since she was born. So that wasn't a big deal for her. Like for my Mustangs, that is a big deal for them. So you do have to break it down more for them. which you'll see in their videos. But for her, it was mostly about the bit and her getting used to having that bit in her mouth. So, but yeah, more of this like kind of searching behavior. So I definitely think that's going to be a calming signal where she's kind of trying to graze and like search for the food on the ground, and I don't think there's that much on the ground. So I think that's just her trying to calm herself a little bit. Um, but yeah, it's interesting to show the difference in the different signals from the horses, especially for her since she's so quiet. Hers are different than a horse that is going to show you a little bit more worry in a different way, in a more obvious way. Um, Even though like her videos are not perfect, that was a big reason. And I don't do a lot of the things that I did with her, but that was the reason I wanted to show them is her like small signals, which most people would miss, and at the time I did too. So I'm gonna go ahead, slide that off really gently, let her spit it out. I just kind of slide the headstall up over her ears and then I let her spit the bit out. That was very nice. And that's another thing I like using that rubber or plastic bit is it can go in nicely, you're not banging on the teeth, and it can go out of their mouth nicely as well. So yeah, she kind of keeps doing this, so just an interesting behavior to point out, but that was very nice.